What's up, guys? Welcome into week one of the PHNX Sun Devils Pac-12 College Basketball Power Rankings. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by Shane Diefenbach, Sean DePaz. Gentlemen, we finally got some college basketball over the course of the last week.
Fun.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, we did. Shane,
Yeah.
I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Where are we running on the Pac-12 Power Rankings right now?
Nothing has changed. Utah moves up, Oregon State moves up, Cal's the worst. Yeah. Is this the right one? Yeah, it is, because Oregon State won. I just keep forgetting because every team's in the conference. It's so weird now that that Cal is allowed to be in these power rankings, but they're last in this one as well. That is very sad. Oregon State came back and won that game. Utah won a game, so good for them. Everything else, I mean, you don't really know much about these teams. UCLA is still far and away the best team in this conference for me. Arizona looks like a problem, but Pelle Larson going down, I think he'll be okay. But those are 1 and 2. Oregon 3 played some pretty solid basketball. Stanford struggled a little bit in that game
Against Pacific, right?
But what?
Against Pacific, right?
Against Pacific, yeah. I thought you said get specific. I'm like, okay.
I mean, get specific with it.
Spencer Jones didn't play, or Harrison Ingram didn't play. Spencer Jones didn't play. Spencer Jones didn't play. Harrison Ingram played all right. They have a guy that I thought was Mac Jones, but it's not Mac Jones. Big M Jones, white guy. It's pretty solid.
He had 31
transfer.
Points in that Stanford.
Yeah.
He might be a problem.
Yeah. ASU, looking okay, better last night against NAU. But I think the biggest mover for me is I think USC is going to be all right. Drew Peterson dropping 21, them getting a commanding win yesterday against Alcorn State, 96-58. I'm not really worried about them.
Okay, fair enough. Sean, what about you?
Yeah, not a whole lot changed on my end either. The only change really is Stanford and Cal swapping spots, or Stanford and USC swapping spots, excuse me. Obviously, USC losing to Florida Gulf Coast, who is a little bit of a wagon of a program, but still losing to Florida Gulf Coast and Stanford getting their dub. I just swapped them. I know, obviously, these two dropped Cal because of their loss. They lost to a UC Davis team that's like in the middle of their conference, while Oregon State barely beat a Tulsa team that many people projected to finish either last or second to last in their conference. I still think Oregon State is the worst team in this conference, and we'll see that in conference play. So that one loss for Cal was not enough for me to have Oregon State jump them. So they stay there at 11. So all the way through UCLA, Arizona, Oregon, Stanford, USC, Arizona State, Colorado, Washington, Wazoo, Utah, Cal, and Oregon State.
Sean, before I get into my power rankings, I'm curious. We all have UCLA, Arizona, Oregon, then Stanford. Where is the drop off? Like, is it UCLA and Arizona, and then there's like a little bit of a gap between Oregon and Stanford, or is that gap, right after Oregon to Stanford?
I mean, realistically, I think there is UCLA, and then a little bit of a slight drop off to Arizona, more because of the unknowns, and then there's the real drop off to Oregon State or to Oregon. USC, Stanford, ASU. It depends on which ASU we get. I think ASU, if we get last night's ASU consistently, they are in that USC, Stanford, Oregon conversation. If we get what we got against Tarleton State, they're more in that middle of the pack situation. So we have to see. Obviously, the season's young, but I do think there is. I think there is a clear drop off after those top two.
Middle of the pack.
Middle of the pack.
There you go.
No K.
Well done. All right, let's see what I've got for week one power rankings. Obviously, the top four are the same. UCLA is going to be a Final Four team. They are simply that good. Jalen Clark is going to be a problem, not only for the Pac-12, but for everybody. Night one in UCLA's win, he didn't miss, literally. And then you've got the Wildcats, the Ducks, Stanford, Arizona State. I'm not putting too much into that Tarleton State game. They play phenomenal defense, and Arizona State's offense looked much better against NAU. Colorado and Wazoo move up. I do have USC at 8, which is much lower than you guys. I just don't think this team is going to be able to be what they were last year. I think there is a significant drop-off. Washington at 9, Utah 10. Sean, to your point about Cal dropping and Oregon State moving up, the only reason I've got Oregon State moving up, I do think they're probably the worst team still in this conference, but watching a little bit of that Tulsa game for Oregon State to be considered the worst team in the conference, but be down 16 at halftime, and then ending up to come back and win. I thought that was definitely worth moving up considering Cal lost. But boys, which team are we most excited to see outside of the Sun Devils this weekend? in Pac-12 basketball.
Stanford and Wisconsin tonight, 5:30 p.m. Big game. Wisconsin's favored, I believe. And I believe you're getting Spencer Jones back, so it could be fun. You can see if this Stanford team is real or not.
Yeah. What about
you? I mean, honestly, crucify me, but I'm excited to see Arizona. I want to see more of what they are. It's obviously, like we talked about, a much different team. There wasn't really any real competition the first night. They're playing Southern, so it's not a lot of competition this night either. But I'm interested to see what this team is this year. If they really are on the same level as UCLA, or if they're closer to an ASU. So I'm excited to see them play this weekend.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. That's going to do it for our Week 1 Pac-12 College Basketball Power Rankings. We'll obviously be back for Week 2 next Friday. But for all of your ASU news, go ahead and give us a listen on our PHNX Sun Devils podcast. But for now, peace.